Hi, I am Arushi, a journalist at MedBound Times, and today we have Karishhma Lamba, girl on Hot Wheels, with us. Karishhma, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Karishma and I'm also known as Girl on Hot Wheels. Thank you, Arushi, for mentioning that. I'm a motivational speaker, a digital marketing expert, and also a life coach. And I've been working with healthcare in hospitals in the marketing department.
Amazing. So, my first question to you will be, when you woke up after your surgery and realized your life had changed forever, what was the first thought that stayed with you in those early days of uncertainty?
Um, well, when the accident happened, um, I couldn't think or process much because, firstly, I was in so much pain that time. My lung had punctured, my ribs were broken, and the pain from the spine was unbearable. And I think truly that point of time, I really thought that this is the end. So I think I was done and I'm gone. It's only after 2 days when I woke up after the surgery, the first realization that I had was that I'm alive. And at that point of time, that fact gave me a lot of gratitude. Thank God that I'm alive. And the feeling of gratitude took over the fear. I wasn't crying, I wasn't panicking, I was just holding it all together and making myself realize that since I'm here, we'll figure it out. One day, one step at a time, and we'll get there. So that was my honest feeling at that point of time.
That was very courageous of you, to be honest. And like, relearning everyday tasks on a wheelchair can be exhausting and
Yeah.
deeply emotional. Was there a moment during rehabilitation that broke you and another that made you believe that you'll be okay again?
Initially, it was also that feeling that it doesn't hit you, that something so big or life altering has really happened. It didn't hit me, neither it hit my family. It's only slowly when we were getting to know about spinal cord injury is when we were having that realization. And especially in India, I feel it's very unfortunate, but we only get to know about spinal cord injury once it's entered our own homes. So realizing about it, and so it hits you every day that, oh my God, what happened? So I still remember one day I was lying down on my hospital bed and my mother was sitting right next to me, and I asked her that, Mom, मैं कहाँ फंस गई, and I don't know what to look forward to from here, and I don't know how will I come out of this condition now. And she looked at me and she said one thing that stayed with me for for a very long time, and it still stays with me, that you've asked this question today, you are doubting yourself of why me and all of those things, but don't do that again. We are all in this together and we'll fight it all together. So that's the way I was coping up with my thought process that time. But again, I won't say it was easy. Every day I would break down, I would have my mental exhaustions with what I was going through. So my days were like, I would get ready in the morning, go for my physiotherapy. I would channelize all my energy, my anger, my frustration, all into my workout. And that became like my anchor of my daily, like a daily thing that I'm going to do. So, and then when there were times when I would break down, to answer your second part of the question, what the hope that I kept looking forward to was that I had created an image of my hospital room being filled with all my loved ones, my family, my friends, my siblings, my younger sister, and my brother. We were all in the room together. And they wouldn't move until the nurses would come and throw them out. So every time I would break down, that's the image I would always think about. And so, basically that kept giving me that hope that I'm not alone in this. So it made it more easy, to cope up with it and to feel a little better about it, that I'll have my loved ones and they're not leaving me alone in this situation. So
like everyone's support.
yeah.
Are you fine?
Yeah.
On to the next question. You have said you never wanted to be treated like a victim. In everyday life, what does that look like, and what kind of behavior, even when well-meaning, hurts the most?
Mm, I've I was born. I was a very strong person, very strong girl, like a go-getter in by nature. Always trying to be a problem solver and not be a problem. So, uh, and I've also there was this line which I heard, and it became my core. That it goes like, I'll either find a way or make one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think no has never been a word for me in my dictionary. And if I can be humble enough to say that, I still feel the same. So, being a strong person, uh, I think the kind of mindset that I had or I reflected out was never of a victim. And all I think I wanted, not being a victim feeling is very clear. For me, it clearly means asking for or wanting normalcy.
Yeah.
Ask me directly if I want something, and don't talk to me indirectly through someone, and not assuming that I might need this, rather ask. So that feeling naturally came to me, that I don't want to be treated as a victim. It's much more far. All I asked was for having a normalcy around me and with my people, and both ways. I want to feel normal about myself, and the people should treat me normally. No. That was it. Yeah. Because compassion is very beautiful, but it looks much better when it comes out of respect and not just assumptions.
Yeah. Not someone just sympathizing.
Yeah. So that's what I felt about not feeling like a victim at all.
And how did you make people around you understand this? Like, did you ever have to tell them to treat you normally, or were they already accustomed to it? Were they?
No. I can't say that they were accustomed to it. That question of what happened to you still bothers, still comes from every person who meets me. And the first thing they feel is that, have you hurt your foot? Is there something wrong with your foot? So it's difficult to all the time say that, no, it's not the foot. And then a lot of people would look at me and be like, what a pretty girl, why are you sitting on the wheelchair? You're too young to be sitting on the wheelchair. So those kind of questions. So no, it wasn't easy, but yeah, I've fought through it, and I've taken enough time and patience to explain what's going on, or what's it like, and to educate people on what spinal cord injury is all about.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. And well, when you returned to work, you had to, I'm sure, rebuild everything, like your routines and your confidence, everything. How important is financial independence in healing after a life-altering injury?
Well, it is a very, very important aspect of anyone's life, because, see, when a spinal cord injury has happened, a life altering situation has happened in your life. So you're, as it is, emotionally, physically, mentally so exhausted, and financially, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So when you've lost everything, when everything is just out of control, if you manage to have financial control in your life, you still feel that you had some control back, which is an extremely, extremely important thing for your dignity, for your confidence. to gain back. And as it is, I think for young women, financial independence is directly linked with dignity and confidence and independence. So yes, it was very important. And for me, that time, going back to work was not just going back to a routine once again. It was much more. It was that shift from not from realizing and not focusing that I've lost something, but it gave me a lot of opportunities to rebuild something. Those small wins, those professional wins, were like big things that time. So it was not just emotionally or mentally what I was feeling, it was psychologically a boost to go back to work, to earn for yourselves, and feeling to live a life on your own terms once again. That's what financial independence brings to you.
And if you had to give
And not feeling a burden on anyone. The most important thing, that you're valued, you are capable of earning for yourself, and you're contributing. So it's a huge satisfactory feeling for any person, for that matter.
True. And if you had to give a timeline, how long did it take you to get back
to work?
Yeah.
This is actually didn't take very long. It's I was very fortunate that where my rehabilitation and my treatment happened, where my doctors were, this was the same place who offered me a job, and I got to work there. And of course, my first thought was that I want to make sure that my workout, which is 4 to 5 hours of rigorous workout that I'm doing, I cannot compromise on that right now, because that was like my anchor, like I told you, of the day. But how, when you're open, when you surrender, things, when you flow in life, things automatically happen so much in the most beautiful manner. Here I got this opportunity to join the marketing team on my own ways and on my own terms, which was like that I come in to the hospital. First half I do my work, and then second half I focus on my exercises. So we had this setup. I had this setup with the management that we're going to try this 3 months, and you see if you like my work. I would get a chance to see if I feel comfortable doing it, going back to work along with my workout and exercises. And that 3 month contract turned into 8 years of working. And I think even when I now blink my eye and see that it's 8 years, so it was very quick that with my physical workouts and rehabilitations, I quickly got back to my financial independence as well. So in the span of maybe less than a year also, I was back to work. And I was also working before my injury. So the thought of going back to work was very difficult, but I'm so glad that the people around in the hospital made it very easy and comfortable for me.
That's amazing. And while counseling other spinal cord injury survivors, what fears or questions do you hear most often, and to you, which ones are the most hardest to answer?
The questions that I hear are very, very human ones. Like just the basics, that will I walk again in life? When will I be able to go back to my normal life? Will I be loved again by my family, my close ones? Will they all leave me? The hardest questions were about the timelines and the guarantees. When will I walk again? Um, so these questions were difficult to answer, and um, the uncertainty, so much of uncertainty which they probably go through. And in the beginning, wheelchair was not the difficult part, I feel, to understand, which they all also felt too. It was the acceptability, that, like I said, will I be accepted? Will everybody not leave me? And all of that, and the uncertainty, that how will now life be like. Counseling was not actually about fixing their fears. It was more about making them comfortable with the truth, and yet making sure they do not feel alone in it. You know, that was the most important. And because the fact that someone has already walked that path before them, that gave a lot of understanding to these uncertainties, and it made it less frightening.
Right, right. And do you like have do they ask about like how long will it take to accept it to themselves, like something like
Oh,
this?
yeah, acceptance is one of the biggest things when we talk about spinal cord injury, because it's like one person is just sitting. There doesn't seem to be any issue. Nothing externally like a scar or a surgery or a plaster or anything. You feel very normal. So that confusion of, am I fine? Am I not fine? Am I okay? Am I not okay? Accepting myself the way I am, it is very difficult. Right. And it takes a lot of time. It's not an easy thing. Not at all. I think it takes many years, many compromises, many decisions to a lot of mental work needs to be done when you realize and understand that life may not be the same, but it'll be different now. Yeah. It'll be different. It'll be a new way of living. So, but yeah, I think you accept it. It just makes your life easy. Yeah. It makes it easy for you.
But it's still a slow.
Very slow. Yeah, very slow. And I think very each one to their own selves also. Yeah.
And does like people also have to like the families also have to accept it, right? Their friends,
Yes.
the people around them. How do you think that people react to it, or how long does this new normal settles in others' life who?
Well, see, if it happens in a family with close ones, I think it a lot depends. Once again, I'll bring it to the person himself or me, myself, who's gone through something like this. I think if who's gone through a spinal cord injury, behaves a certain manner or keeps myself strong, it makes it little easy for the people around me also to accept it. For example, if I only talk negative, if I only talk about the unfortunate things that have happened, and if I never want to come out of it, it's very exhausting for myself and for the person who's being my caretaker.
Right.
You know, so you yourself have to work on it and make sure that you're happy. You're trying to cope up. Let's say on a scale of 10, if I'm able to cope up 6 times, then the 4 times the person who's helping me, the samne wala, also doesn't feel that bad.
Right.
Then that coordination or that adjustment sets in. So it's not very fair to just leave it on the other person to think, what are you going to think about me? Understand, try to have that conversation and come into that zone. Like, having conversations, they help.
Right.
Conversations make it very comforting, whether for somebody who's a caregiver or for the patient himself. So have that conversations, try to sort out your whatever you feel and how you can work this situation in a little better manner.
Yeah.
So this is one aspect of how I feel. And talking about people, yes, this feeling still is settling in. It's not all nice the way I'm making it sound. It is very difficult also. Sometimes days are very nice, but then there are fights and there are arguments which are also really bad and very, very exhaustive. But yeah, people take a lot of time.
Yeah.
People do. Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy
Right.
for them also to see and to probably get
Yeah.
used to a situation like this.
And you call your wheelchair your Hot Wheels. When did that mental shift happen from seeing it as a loss to owning it as a freedom? And it's very like quirky to call it a Hot Wheel.
This happened during COVID. I was working in a hybrid system with the hospital,
Right.
and there was so much of um, talk and the negativity and people losing themselves silently through either physically or through mental health, and that's when I had this urge of doing something more with whatever best I can. And that's how I actually just decided to come on social media and to just showcase how I live my life.
Yeah.
As simple as that. How I do my daily rituals, daily activities, how I do my shiftings, how to laugh, just to have fun conversations, and how to make people around me laugh.
Right.
That's all I thought about. And the vision of Girl on Hot Wheels was very clear. It's like happiness is like a choice. You do not really have to think or rethink too many things of every situation. If you choose to be happy, things around you automatically shape up in a certain manner, I feel. I really feel that. And to live life to the fullest in whichever circumstances you are. This was my clear vision of creating those vlogs and creating those posts and doing all that about Girl on Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
So that's how Girl on Hot Wheels actually came into picture.
But were you ever hesitant to like showcase it all? Were you like ever thinking about what kind of response this would get? Yeah.
Initially, when I was either moving out, going to a mall, when people would stare as if I'm like an alien, or I was very conscious. I used to love getting pictures clicked. I think ever since I was born.
Yeah.
But then there came a phase in my life. I was very adamant, and I only wanted pictures to be clicked like till here and not the wheelchair. I was very conscious, very, very conscious. But the whole shift that came into me when acceptance comes in the picture and not feeling bad about it being a wheelchair, and calling it the Hot Wheels and making it a part of my existence at present, thanking them, thanking that there is a wheelchair, there are my Hot Wheels where I can do anything what I want to, where I can go wherever I want to, I can comfortably shift from here to there with the support of the wheelchair. So when that entire shift came in my thought process, and when I accepted the entire thought process, that's when I did not bother who's staring, who's looking, who thinks I'm an alien. All those inhibitions just started getting off me. And I became just so authentic about myself. And I so many times even write this quote that if the whole idea of dressing up, getting back to how I used to feel about myself, all these things contributed a lot in getting back to myself and not really getting bothered by what people say. So I used to write this quote, even somewhere on social media post, I've written it somewhere, that if people are staring, make it worthwhile.
That's nice.
So when I say things like this, you'll understand where does this confidence come. And yeah, sure, I do not really get bothered by people staring at me anymore.
Yeah.
It's not a discomfort for me anymore. In fact, I actually land up greeting them first. I break the ice like very quickly, So all those questions really take a back seat of what happened to you. I won't deny that comes, but that comes later. And first, I actually get to hear how have you been, and how do you do your shiftings, and how's your day going. And I love that. I love to see that shift. Yeah.
And you're like, it's very infectious, your whole energy. It really is. Okay. And so there's still a lot of silence around disability, especially in public spaces, right?
Yeah.
What do you wish people would ask instead of staring or avoiding conversation?
I don't blame them because they don't really know what's going on. I think they come out of a concern, which is all right. But now that concern needs to be educated also. They need to understand, okay, if there's a young pretty girl sitting on the wheelchair, probably she's not just sprained her foot. It could be spinal cord injury. Or firstly, just treating a person normally. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. So yeah, I don't really I've had a lot of staring and felt like an alien, and all that has really happened. But I again thought that let's be the bigger person. Like I said, I would break the ice and the things would just come down. And then we would have regular questions and how do you cope up with, and then they would actually get more confident to even ask questions. When they saw that I have a mouth and I can speak, they would ask better questions.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah.
But is it like difficult to make them understand that maybe like there used to be a thing where they say that if you can't change something within 5 seconds, don't pinpoint it to the next person. So is it like when people, the comment that you said, that pretty girl sitting on a wheelchair, does it like bother you a bit ever?
Initially, a lot, can't deny. I've had times when I just wanted to stop going out of the house only. There were people who would, if I've entered the lift all by myself, they would stare at me up to down. And in anger, I have also stared back at people. In the beginning, yeah, I have. And I've had my moments, I've had my snap outs. But after a certain point, they all came down. When I think more, the more I felt I was evolving, is the more I started realizing it's not their fault. It's not their fault. But now, no, not even an iota of feeling bad about it. No. And I'm so glad I can confidently say that on the screen that no, I don't feel I don't feel uncomfortable when people stare.
Right. I think it also comes down to a point where people are just afraid to ask questions.
Yeah. Conversations, like I said, are very comforting, aren't they? They're very comforting.
Absolutely.
You feel better. Silence, on the other hand, creates discomfort. So, if you realize it only takes one person to change the zone, and why to expect that the other person has to do it? Let me do it, or let anybody do it. It'll be nice if it comes from the other side also someday. It'll then be like a equal this thing. But yeah.
But you're not afraid to like speak out first, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And along with like physical therapies or going to the gym, doing these workouts, did you ever have to take like mental therapy sessions and mental health and counselor and stuff like that? Was it ever a part of your routine?
I think I've been very fortunate to have a family who's been very, very supportive. We welcomed all kind of discussions in the family. We welcomed all kind of thoughts that flow in any person, in any human, whether they are temporary or permanent or whichever way. So I'm very glad that I've had a very strong mother and my siblings and my father, that if I've ever needed to say something or talk about how am I feeling, I've not had to think about it twice. And I think that has been a very big thing in the family, that I didn't have to go or have that feeling or urge of going out and finding comfort. But I had my people around. My mother is my best friend, and I always on Friendship Day I actually post a story for her. Happy Friendship Day, my best friend.
That's so cute.
So when you're lucky and fortunate with these kind of support systems, I think it makes it easy, and then you don't really need a therapy outside of your family, I think.
But say if someone else who is going through a similar situation, would you suggest that if needed they must?
Yes, I would strongly suggest that if a person, see, it's very important to vent out. Basically, you have to talk. And you have to be heard. So that comfort, wherever it comes from, whether it's from your internal circle or it comes from an external support, you must go for therapy. I would support that to anybody. And this has nothing to do with anybody on the wheelchair or not, the kind of mental health issues we hear in today's time, somebody or the other is going through something. Like with me, and I always say this, that mine is an injury that showed from the physical side.
Right.
But there are so many people who are going through issues which are only in their minds, and they don't talk about it. That's more scary.
Yeah.
That's actually more scary. So if you feel, you must communicate and you must go for therapy. If you feel that it's all clogging inside, so please do ask for help. Ask for help.
And if you had one chance to speak directly to the policymakers, what single change would you ask for to make daily life easier for people living with any kind of disability?
Since we are
Yeah.
particularly talking about wheelchair users and spinal cord injuries that have happened, that kind of disability, I really feel that accessibility should be made a basic need.
Yeah.
And not a feeling of like a provision. It's not an extra add-on provision that
Right.
is being is a feeling that should be given. Having comfortable sidewalks and buildings and washrooms is very, very important, very necessary for any person. These are the basic needs. And when you have a inclusive setup everywhere, it automatically brings in confidence and independence and your own dignity. So they naturally come to you then. Then these differences become little lesser, and the basic requirements are met. That's something I would like to talk about.
We still have, I think, many buildings or establishments that don't really
they
take
don't.
care.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, I'm pretty hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful. When you really bring the change within you, you start seeing the change outside as well. Slow, but you do see it.
And 9 years into this journey, what does a good day look like for you now, and how has your idea of happiness changed?
9 years into the injury. Well, I think the first thing is waking up feeling healthy, the most important. Doing my work with purpose. Having conversations that really matter, and living my life with authenticity on my own terms still. And happiness, earlier, earlier happiness was a lot about what's next. But now it's more about what's now. Having a purpose in life, that is something that gives me a lot of happiness. Making people laugh around me, I love that. And living in the present, like I said, living in the present. Also, like closing the day with gratitude, with feeling grateful that it's been a good, blessed day and a productive day. And these are all the changes that have actually transformed in my life, which define my happiness now.
And how, was happiness different before the injury? Like, how different? You said, like, you were always looking up for the next moment. And now you like to live in the present. Like, do you think, like, it happened because of the injury, the change happened because of the injury, or did it happen because of, like, matureness and learning stuff?
See, maturing with age, yes, of course, that's going on. It's a process. But I can't deny that the injury has not had these changes in me. I can't completely deny that injury. We all go through these accidents or these incidences in life for changes, for such changes. And I won't say that my life has completely changed, but it's for sure changed in nicer ways, in kinder ways, in going closer to my purpose of life. What would I really want to do in life? these kind of things. I think a lot of people actually just come and just go. So many people don't really understand, or they're far away from understanding what are these purposes, what are our purposes of life. When we are born, with why are we born, or what are we going to be doing in this lifetime. There are some lessons to be learned in lifetimes.
And just to conclude, what would be one advice or a positive outlook that you'd want people to know, or young survivors or young people who are going through a similar situation? Yeah. What would that one advice?
I would just like to say one thing, and I'm somebody who's walked through that path, so I can say this in a stronger and a comforting manner, that yes, life has changed, but it's not ended. So it's going to be a new normal. Life may not go back to what it was, but it's going to be your own new normal. So do not give up, and still live happily with whatever best you can make out of it. And in the end, I'd just like to say that since it's there, the life is there, it's just one life, and do not think twice how you want to live.